Greetings. I often get asked three questions. How do I get inspired for a composition? What's my creative process? And how do I think out of the box? Inspiration it can come from just my morning walks when I'm listening, hearing sounds, thinking, oh, how can I translate that into something? It comes from poems, books, artwork, or just a what if thought. I'll go into the studio and, well, what if I plug this into that and I start to get a sound and I follow the sound? So I'll take inspiration any which way it comes. My composition process is what I'd like to explore with you today. And the inspiration for this example comes actually from another piece of music written by my good friend and kindred spirit, Kennedy, also known as Mad Composer Lab. And be sure to check out his website and his Patreon. He does great tutorials on composition and just music in general. He's an inspiration to me all the time, period. But back on the 20th of October, he wrote a piece for Harriet Tubman. This is it. I'll actually probably put this so you can see it better. There it is. And he put it on Instagram and said, hey, if anyone wants to perform it, feel free, or interpret it. And what you'll see in the bottom there is it's based on haiku and tanka Japanese poetry forms. Haiku being 17 syllables, 575, and tanka being, I think it's 31, 57577. Those are the line syllable readings. So you'll notice the top line has 17 notes, 575, and the bottom has 31, 57577. So I thought I would love to interpret this. And at first I thought, oh, I'll just play it on the piano, right? I mean, that's what he performed it on. And then, of course, I realized I'm not a piano player. This is where the portion of thinking outside the box comes into play. So for about a minute, I sit at the piano. I can play this, but very, very slowly and with no feeling. Oh gosh, how do we coordinate all that? So then I sat for another minute and sort of beat myself up and went, oh man, I should have really studied piano more in conservatory, or I wish I could sight read. But as I say, that lasted a minute. Then I thought, well, what can I bring to it? And this is where, in a way, I'm now going to be thinking outside of the box, or that's going to be the end result. But to get there, it's evaluating my skill set, the arrows in my quiver. And so I know I can play a single line with some feeling and some meaning. So I just slowly started playing through this piece, first the top line, then the bottom line. And what I realized is it started to sound like Gregorian chant to me. And that is one of the arrows in my quiver. I studied Gregorian chant at the Schola Cantorum in Basel, Switzerland for half a year. And so I thought, well, why don't I forget the rhythm and just play the line as a Gregorian chant? And so I turned the tape recorder on. I'm at the piano. And I just let it roll, and I played the top line 2 or 3 times with different phrasings, different breathing spaces. Then I played the bottom line a few times. And then I took the top line and took it down an octave. I thought that might be interesting to have that as a component. And then I played some octaves fifths in the bass line, which wasn't part of the score, but so I recorded all of that in one sitting, not listening back to any of it, just freestyle. And then I took that back to Logic, cut those pieces up, um, did what the score says is first play the haiku first, and then play the tanka line. So you hear the haiku line, then the tanka line. And then instead of playing what was written, I started combining, putting together the various performances I had made of the various lines. And that's what comes out here. But before we go there, let's go downstairs and listen to the piano because there's some special things going on there. So when I realized I was going to do this for piano, I also realized that I've been spending a lot of time preparing this piano. So there are lots of John Cage-like preparations in there. And at first I thought, well, I'll just take them out. But then I thought, nah, let's see what happens if I leave them in and play it as is, rather than trying to navigate around the preparations, let them fall, well, where they will. And I liked where it came out. This is a very old piano, late 1800s, early 1900s. With the sustain pedal down, it sustains forever. I love it. And the way I recorded this was with my Zoom, and I put it on the floor, which is concrete. So you'll hear some pedal noises when we listen to the piece, but you'll also hear some amazing sustains. Okay, so I'm going to move over to that camera and talk you through. So if I just play the top line as written, we get this. You'll hear that little one, so that's the only preparation in that line. But down here, we get this lovely preparation. And also this one. Okay, I hope that orients you, and let's go upstairs. Now that you understand what's going on with that piano, let's take a look and listen to Harriet, the Solemn Song version. And next, I thought, this is an old trick, but it still works. I did Metasynth, the software program, for years and years and years, and I still use it a lot. And what I did was take my performance that you just heard, put it into Metasynth, turned it into a sonogram, and as you can see, you see all the little dots where all the percussive beginnings of notes are. And then, since it's a sonogram, it doesn't matter what it's played back on, but also the old trick is I just blur everything out. And then I apply a filter so the whole picture fades in and fades out. And then instead of having it played back by a piano sample, I had it played back by a string sample. And those, what were dots that are now blurred, tend to breathe. They give this overall nice breath, and especially played back on strings. So, this is where my mind goes. The Gregorian chant, Metasynth are arrows in my quiver. So rather than beat myself up about what I can't do, I figure out what I can do, and that excites me. And here's a small portion of that iteration called Surge. You can find all the iterations on my SoundCloud, which I'll leave a link to. And the final iteration was then, of course, to take the Metasynth and the piano multi version I had done and remix those in a different way. And then at one point, I was rereading Kennedy's Instagram, and he said, if you don't have a piano or other instruments, melody instruments, you can do it percussively by just following the rhythms and the accents there. So, so I step sequenced this piece into Logic, sped it up like way up there. I don't know, 700 beats a minute or something. Insane. And had it played back on a beautiful sample set of John Cage's Prepared Piano. And then, but I took, it only lasts a minute, but there's lots of different sections. It took me probably 3 hours to do this 1 minute. But exploring different prepared piano sounds and volumes, I just found it exciting, and it kept pulling me on to do something. So this is a 1 minute sketch, which I'll leave you with. And of course, it's way different than what you heard before. But I hope, inspiration, creative process, and thinking outside the box, I hope you have a better idea of how I approach all of that. And maybe there's a little nugget there or a catalyst for you. Okay, here is the prepared piano Mach 5.